Good morning. Welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind. So today, yes, today is, let's see, what is it? It's Thursday. Thursday, the 28th of January, 2021. The beginning of uncertainty. We have no idea where this country's going. Actually, I got a pretty good idea, but you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. But I will say this. Right now, if you've got grain in storage, get rid of it. Just sell it. Everything's going up, including the price of grain. I suspect that the price of corn and soybeans are going to hit record highs. But the problem with that is, with record high corn and soybean prices, comes record high fertilizer and equipment and all the other lovely things that goes along. Fuel, absolutely fuel. With what's going on with the oil industry as they want to shut it down, our new administration. I hope all you Prius-owning jackasses that voted for this guy, and the ones that are already dead and voted for him are happy. But, you know, that's okay. Nothing's proven, right? Nothing's proven. Just a conspiracy theory. We just love conspiracy theories. So, here we go. So everything's going to take a huge jump, and the higher dollar grain prices that you're going to get are not going to offset the input costs. They're just not. You're going to be making the same few pennies a bushel that you did when corn and soybeans were at their lower numbers, like $3. And what did I sell my corn for? I think the first corn that I sold was like picked up was upper threes, $3.90, something like that. And then the second batch of corn that I sold was well into $4, and the last that I sold was $4.79 picked up. These are picked up prices. Right now, I believe it's over $6 picked up. Got to make a phone call today and probably sell 10 loads. You know, sell 10 loads. If it's over $6 picked up and I sell 10 loads, you know, there's $60,000 that I can get my hands on pretty quickly. Pretty sure there's 10 loads in there. If not, well, you know what? I've oversold and someone's going to have to make it up. But anyway, I will probably sell 7 loads at that price and just call it a day. I got to feed some animals. You know, I still have we have some animals now. I got to grind that, feed for them so that we're well into the spring and just keep everything going in the right direction with those cows. Cattle. I shouldn't say cows. Cattle. There are steers. They've been castrated. So if you don't know the difference between a bull and a steer, is basically you castrate them, you cut their nuts out, and yeah, there you go. Personally, it makes them grow a little faster, and they're a little more mild-mannered when they don't have all that testosterone pumping through them. And the beef tastes a little bit better, a little less grizzly, a little more pliable and easier on the palate. But anyway, so these are just my thoughts and opinions on this whole thing. When I see what's going on, this guy is signing executive orders like he's the king. Now, I don't agree with executive orders, okay? I really don't. I don't agree with them at all. I haven't for years. When I realized that, George Bush was signing them like crazy. Bill Clinton signed a fair few, but the worst ones, I believe, was Obama. I believe Obama was the worst one for signing executive orders. Publicizing executive orders goes to Donald Trump. He would publicize executive orders all the time. So, yep, this is what I'm doing. Now, if you're European or anywhere else in the world, that is really not how our government works. That is pretty much, there is executive order here, and they're supposed to be used, they're supposed to be used with old laws, if I'm correct. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that an executive order is basically to take an old law that's on the books and bring it to the forefront, like, okay, this is what this is going to be. But it seems to me that today, our president is doing these executive orders to create law. And that's not how our system works. You have the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. So Doesn't matter whether the bill is formed in the Senate or the House, they have to go through all three branches of the government in order to be signed into law by the President of the United States. So if the President says, hey, you know what? I think this would be good for our country, and he doesn't actually do it, but he dictates what he wants in his bill, and then he sends the bill to the House, then it goes to the Senate. If it's approved or modified, ratified, as they say, modified, ratified, then it goes back to the President for final signing. If it starts in the Senate, then it goes to the House, then back to the Senate, because the House is going to approve or disapprove or change it, ratify it, rectify it, modify it, and then it goes back to the President for final signing. He can veto this. A lot of really good bills die at the executive branch because of attachments or amendments or attachments. They put bills, attach bills to the bill that is to be signed by the president, and a lot of them do get vetoed for that reason, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. Like free health care for all illegal immigrants. That's why a lot of these things get vetoed. A lot of that stuff happens. So, but today we're just having executive orders. You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. Shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. Well, did they shut it down? No, they just pulled the permits. So they pulled the permits to cross the country. That doesn't mean that the oil is going to stop flowing from Canada to Louisiana, where it is to go. It just means that it is going to cost more, it is going to pollute more, and it is going to be more dangerous to do so. I am not a fan of pipelines. We have 2 pipelines under our farm, and they want to put a gas pipeline. I mean, the oil pipeline is one thing because they generally don't explode. They will leak. Oil pipelines will if they're not maintained properly, and the pipelines one of them is my age. I was like 2 years old when the second one went through, and the first one went through when my great-grandfather was still alive and owned this property, and my grandparents bought this property from my great-grandparents in 1959. So that thing is old, and that's the little inch. You have the little inch and the big inch. One is a 12-inch and the other is a 24-inch pipe, I believe. But anyways, as far as pipelines crossing my property, our property, the home property, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that it's, for us, we've just got too many utilities crossing us already. And there are plenty of pipelines, but is it necessary to put that gas pipeline through our property? We're fighting it because it isn't necessary. That pipe is going to be used for storage and export. Nobody's going to be able to tap into that pipe and take natural gas out of it. It's just for export. So if we're energy independent, why in the hell do we need a pipeline for export? We don't need to export our gas. There's plenty of gas out there. We can conserve our gas and actually have cheaper fuel here in the United States, which would benefit everybody. So, but as far as the Keystone Pipeline, a few years back, Warren Buffett, good friend of Mr. Obama and Mr. Biden, he bought the railroads, all the railroads that were out there that could possibly haul oil and gas and whatever they could haul on these rail lines. And so it's really no surprise to me that the pipeline got shut down because, one hand washes the other. Warren Buffett is probably one of the most wealthiest guys in the country, is one of the wealthiest guys in the country, and he doesn't like to not make money. He wants to make as much money as he can, so he donates to people like Joe Biden and Obama and Hillary Clinton, and anybody that will keep that money flowing into his pocket. Now, those trains go through small towns, and train accidents do happen. As a matter of fact, I know a guy. I can't remember his name, but I know a guy. He came and bought my 16-foot grain platform for the New Holland Combine, and that is what he does. He deals with derailments, and most derailments, nobody gets hurt. No real problems. Just a train flops over on its side. He goes, cleans it up, fixes it up, remedies the problem. Well, when it comes to oil, going through the central part of the country down to Louisiana, it has to go through some pretty big towns, and railroads are, they're high maintenance, really. I mean, wood rots and steel wears, and, just it's susceptible to accidents and stuff. So there's no real reason for, uh, for oil to jump dramatically. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't jump at all because these pipelines that are being put in, they're funded by the gas and the oil that it would be moving. So by the permits being pulled and the pipe being shut down, it should actually cause the cost of fuel to go down because they're still hauling it by truck and they're still hauling it by barge and they're still hauling it by rail. So the oil is still flowing down. It hasn't hindered it at all. What it has done is it has stopped the amount of money that they're having to put onto the final product to pay for this pipe that's going to go through. And that's the way this gas line that they want to put through us, that's how that's funded. They're guaranteed like $14 billion profit after this pipe is supposedly put in. Now, they haven't laid one piece of pipe yet for this line that they want to put through. So anyway, there you go. But that's not the way it is. Fuel is creeping up. The current administration now wants to shut down wells. They want to move everybody over to green energy. And here's how this works. You can't have green energy without oil. Yeah, that's just a fact of the matter. Your little electric cars that you're running around here that are, I don't have to pay road tax. I don't have to pay for that. Well, you are paying for that. The simple matter is they are run on lithium-ion batteries. Where does lithium come from? We don't just pull it out of the auto industry's asshole. No, we got to mine that. You have to mine that. And what do you mine lithium with? Oil. Oil. The machines that, and this you can't get away with. Oh, you cannot get away from the mining industry without some form of a fossil fuel, whether it be coal, which it would definitely involve a lot of coal and a lot of oil, because coal is mined using oil. They don't use, I don't believe they use steam anymore because they would just burn their coal to produce steam. But steam is very dangerous. If you have a blown pipe with steam, you got big problems. But anyways, oil and coal. So where are you going to use coal to mine lithium-ion battery material, lithium from? Well, you actually have to melt the steel, the iron ore. You have to break the iron ore out. You have to refine it. You have to, do all the process to turn iron ore into steel, which is carbon. Steel is iron mixed with carbon, and that creates steel. And it takes an awful lot of heat to do that. So you got to use more carbon in order to melt it, which would be coal, or electricity, which is generated by steam, which is oil, bunker oil, or coal, or water. I don't think they're using wind or solar to produce the electric for the electric foundries, but still, huge amounts of energy. Huge amounts of energy to produce these things. So if everybody thinks that green energy is green, like all of a sudden they're just pulling materials out of the earth like fiberglass and glass for that matter, because glass is sand, and I do believe that solar panels use a lot of metal in them. So mining oil, steel, carbon emission, it isn't that you're not going to get away from it. Even if you go, well, if you've ever been to a Tesla generating station for Tesla cars, there's a Caterpillar generator behind it. That's how they take oil and they put it into a generator and they run that thing pretty much all the time, because you never know when a car is going to pull up to charge their battery. So there's your oil. You're generating electricity using oil. Oh, and steel and iron in order to produce the generator that generates the electric. Oh, copper as well. All the wires, that's encased with plastic, which is oil. So there you go. So all these orders that are being signed, no matter what this moron says, that we're going to be carbon free, impossible. The only way that we could be really carbon emission free is if we made cars illegal, if we were living in 1776 I don't believe there was too much going on as far, but you're still burning coal to heat their houses, wood. Well, you burn wood. As a matter of fact, this house is made out of entirely wood, except for the steel roof that I've got on it, and the copper pipe, and that's in for the the heater, and my water lines, and what else is in this house? Oh, plastic pipe for the drain pipes. So oil. You're not going to get away from it. They could reduce it, but as they're in their attempts to reduce it, they're going to produce a shit ton more carbon emissions than if they never do it. And I did watch a study. I watched it on YouTube, and you can look it up. I can't remember the name of it, but you can look it up. That no matter what we do, if we reduce our carbon emissions by, I think they're like 10%. If we reduce our carbon emission by 10%, our human carbon emission by 10%, that will, in 100 years, will only change the rise in the temperature on this planet by like less than half a degree Celsius, or Fahrenheit. Maybe it's half a degree Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So for 100 years, if we reduce by 10%, we'll never be free of it. Just so all you lefty tree-hugging jackasses will never be free of it. Because even if they outlaw using wood to build houses or burn in your fireplaces, those trees will mature, they will fall over, they will rot, and guess what? They will release all that carbon that they stored back into the atmosphere. That's just the way that works. Cannot create or destroy energy. You can dispense energy, you can disperse energy, but energy, all energy comes from that big ball of fire in the sky. So there you go. That's how it works. Clean green fuel, no such thing. If you grow a field of corn and turn it into ethanol, and you burn said ethanol, yes, it will burn cleaner because it's newer energy. It takes twice as much to go half as far, but it's still releasing the same carbon back into the atmosphere as if a cow had ate it and farted it out. That's it. It breaks it down. So we can't create what isn't already coming here from the sun. Yeah, that's our energy. So this has probably been a pretty crude lesson for you. I am no scientist. I am not. I just kind of paid attention a little bit in science class because it was really neat. Like, they say, how many BTUs will a cord of wood produce? All of them. You know, that would have been my answer. I don't know how many BTUs. It all depends on the type of wood that you're burning. Now, will there be more BTUs, British thermal units, of heat generated by burning this wood, or allowing that same cord of wood to rot in the woods? The answer is no. The same amount of energy is released through the rotting process as there is through the burning process. And that is if you burn everything. If there's smoke coming out of your chimney, that is unburnt fuel. You need to do something different. That is unburnt fuel. Burnt fuel is clear. If it is burnt efficiently burnt fuel is clear. So you don't see smoke. You just have CO2 emissions. So anyways, all this stuff that they're trying to do and choke down the American people's throat, it's all about one thing. It has nothing to do with anything else. One thing, and that's money. How much money they can line their buddies' pockets with. Who donated money to which candidate that won. And those are the agendas that are on the forefront. And right now, green energy, as they say, is basically owned by the same people that own carbon energy. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They will do the same thing, you know. And we're going to just basically shit can all of the restrictions on Chinese-made goods that come into our country. They're just going to drop those tariffs and say, hey, And all the people that produce the steel that was now being produced here in the United States is going to go back to China, and we're going to get their crap. We're not getting good stuff. I've used Chinese steel. It's brittle garbage. The carbon content is like 62, whereas American steel carbon content is 71, I think, or 72. Canada steel is very similar. Japanese steel, believe it or not, is very, very good. I've used that in the past as well in chains. So if I had my choice between American steel, Canadian steel, and Japanese steel, all three are good. But if you get something from China, it's not good. It's inferior crap. But anyway, that's just my rant on that. But as far as corn and soybeans go, yeah, you're going to see higher prices for corn and soybeans. China's going to keep buying. They're in major drought down in South America. No double crop soybeans this year, or corn this year, from what I understand. They may be going to do double crop beans, but they are in a major drought. That is why there's threat of a shortage of grain in this country. Okay, so here's one for you. Why is now the federal government is supposed to be taking care of us, us first, U.S. first, our food supplies first, and then we worry about everybody else? Well, we're the breadbasket of the world, right? They're still selling our corn overseas. Foreign buyers are buying our corn, buying our soybeans, buying our wheat because they don't have enough over there. And what I heard on Ag TV day before yesterday, that we don't have enough to supply us, and they're still selling overseas. So people are going to get maybe a little bit sticker shock at the grocery store in the next year, within the next year, along with fuel. There's going to be a lot of stop the ethanol plants because we're short on fuel or food. Well, you can take the ethanol out of corn. There's still a food product there. You can take the oil out of soybeans, and there's still a feed value there. As a matter of fact, those commodities are shipped overseas faster than raw materials, corn and beans. So, like distillery grains, brewer's grains, distillery grains, and brewery grains and distillery grains are two different things, but similar but different. One's for beer, the other's for whiskey, or ethanol and consumable alcohols. Your beer is just brewer's grains, distillery grains is for alcohol production. And that stuff is all sold on the open market. You can buy and sell it through the Chicago Board of Trade if you wanted to. Soybean meal. If soy meal, you'll see that on the Chicago Board of Trade. If you're not a farmer, you'd see that. Soybeans and soy meal. Soy meal is after it comes through the crushing plant, and it's soybean meal. It's protein. And that stuff is sold all over the world from the United States to produce pork, beef, and poultry. Turkey and chicken. Ducks, I guess, if you got them. Fish, that's another one. Fish. Keep your eye on fish. But fish is another very large source. Milo, sorghum, that goes to China. China feeds their huge tilapia farms and fish farms, catfish farms, and all these other fish farms that they have throughout the world. I think they're in South Africa right now with some of this stuff. They bought land there, and they're producing large quantities of fish to feed their population. So those products are going there. But anyway, if you actually realized where or how powerful farmers are, if we could all just get together and say, no, we're not going to deal with these low prices. We know that you're screwing us over, and they are screwing us over. I mean, come on. I think corn in China is $14 a bushel. Same 56-pound bushel. Same 56-pound bushel. $14 a bushel. That's what it sells for in China. Soybeans. I don't even know what soybeans sell for in China. I didn't see that one. I was just, my jaw hit the ground and I missed the soybeans. I'm like, $14 a bushel for corn? I'd kill every blade of grass that I've got, buy all the lime that I need, and fertilize everything for the maximum capacity if I could get $14 a bushel. Yes, I'm a hypocrite, but if I could get $14 a bushel for corn, wouldn't that be sweet as it goes? So, not going to happen here. Not going to happen here. It'll be, the middleman will get the extra $10. You know, that's where that goes. It's like when China cancels an order for corn or soybeans from the United States. They just call up their buddies in Brazil and Argentina. Unfortunately, they're in major drought right now, so they can call them and they just say, hey, you're going to have to buy it from, say, the USA because and Canada because, you know, we're in a very dry area. We have nothing. So, anyways, even if they did, they call them up and then Brazil or Argentina, hey, good neighbor, we need to send, 2 million metric ton of beans over to China. And there you go. And that's how it goes. My boy is not happy. I can hear him down there. So the boats never leave here, go to Brazil, and then get rebranded Brazilian beans and shipped over. They just don't. They just leave our ports just like they normally would, and they go over there. And the difference is that the middleman down there in Brazil and Argentina, they got their hands in that cookie jar, and they're like, ooh, $2-3, yay, and they get theirs. And the brokers here, they get paid, obviously, and the guy that's taking it up the ass is the people like you and me, the farmer. Yeah, the guy that's actually playing in the dirt. Now, we don't want to get rich doing this job because that creates competition, but we really would like to make a decent living where we can send our kids to college and have a retirement that doesn't involve selling everything that we've had to retire. Because who wants to do that as a farmer? Who wants to just say, hey, you know what, it's a retirement sale, I'm out of here. Would you rather, sell your equipment to your children so that they could carry on and keep it going, or even hand it down? A lot of people don't even get that. And today, it's so hard, at least here in my area, it's so hard to be able to make enough money farming to buy a piece of land to start a farm. It's next to near impossible. You have to have somebody with a rich mommy and daddy that are lawyers or something that, when their kid graduates, say, agricultural college, he says, Mommy, Daddy, I really want to make hay for a living. And then they crack open their wallet and set them up in the business. And then they fiddle around for 5 or 6 or 7 years until mom and dad say, you know what, it's time to get off the tit. You've had plenty of free stuff. It's time to get off the tit and start on your own. And then they look at their wallet. They're like, yeah, but that tractor you bought me is now wearing out and I need a new one. And I can't afford that. Come on, man. Come on. Go down to your government office. I hit the kill button, so I have to do it a little differently. Anyway, go down to the government office. See how much they're going to give you. I don't even go to the government office. Oh, sexy wife alert. Look at that. Shake it, shake it. I love that woman. I made her sleep downstairs last night because I had been up since 3 o'clock in the morning and her and William were yelling and carrying on. I said, you know what? I need to go to sleep. Why don't you go downstairs and sleep down there tonight? And she did. I expected her to come back after he went to sleep in his bedroom, but she didn't, which was not nice because I usually wake up in the morning, and I'm sure you don't want to hear this, but I wake up in the morning and I like to roll over and put my arms around her and say, good morning, sweetheart, I love you. Would you like some coffee? And then I pee in a cup and give it to her and call it coffee, and she's like, oh, thank you, and dumps it out and makes her own. But that's not true. That's just an out-and-out lie. What kind of a person would I be to pee in a cup and give it to my wife? I'd do that to my ex-wife, though. I would definitely piss in a cup, flavor it like coffee, and hand it to her and say, you know what? I miss you. Have a sip. I get the last laugh. Of course, my children are now laughing at me and saying, you're an asshole. But that's okay. My ex-wife's, I don't know. She's special. She's special. Whew. Wow. Anyway, after this thing went off the rails. I don't know where I'm at. But anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed this. It's been fun. And I'm going to go to work because it's like 9:45. Thank you.